Super excited today to bring Stanley Henry from The Attention Seeker here in New Zealand to the Vital Stuff podcast. Thanks for joining us today. I think you're really going to enjoy this. I am one who is not a big fan of social media, but his team has taught me the power of social media, how to use it to help build our business, and most importantly, how to keep the human touch and learn how to communicate through social media channels. So join me in listening in on our conversation, which I think was a lot of fun. Hope you enjoy it. Hey, Stan.
Hello.
Thanks for having me here at your place. This is really incredible.
You've been here more than I have recently.
I feel like I should be paying rent.
I'm in your office at the moment.
I know, it's great. And I really appreciate the fact that you probably have a little jet lag, having just rolled in from San Francisco. Yeah. How did it go?
It went really well. It was a great trip, and it was pretty eye-opening seeing that world over there. And just like...
Which part of it?
To be honest, where I was in Silicon Valley, just seeing the world of you know what it is difference to here in Auckland, the infrastructure for capital is not the same here. And over there, just the investors and the way that world works and the VCs that we sort of at some of these events and just the AI and all the stuff that was happening. It's just not what you get here. To the same level.
It's a different scale.
It's a different scale. Yeah,
it's a different scale.
Yeah.
Just so that I can take everybody back to a little bit of the beginning, and myself as well, because you and I just kind of met. We got thrown into the mosh pit, and we took off to the races, which has been an incredible experience. Especially, I have to congratulate you because there are a lot of people who tried to get me to deal with social media, and it was, as you know, something I didn't want to do. So I appreciate you and your team helping me get across the line to conquer that fear that I had.
Yeah, well, thank you for trusting us.
I still don't like it.
Yeah, I know. But thank you for trusting us.
I still don't like it, but I understand how the world has changed.
Yep.
You know, I've kind of lived through that whole process. But I'd love to hear your story of how you came to do this. Yep. Like, what did you do before? Yeah. You couldn't have always been doing this.
Definitely not.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I'd love for you to walk me through that. And
how far back do you want me to go?
Not that far.
Okay. Good.
No.
No,
I'm just kidding. But
most of my story is hotels.
Did you grow up here in New Zealand?
I grew up in New Zealand. I grew up in South Auckland, New Zealand, and I didn't really have any career here in New Zealand. I kind of went to university, dropped out, moved to Australia. And then I sort of stumbled through life for a couple of years until I started a career in hospitality in hotels. And then I
Did you train for that? Or?
No, I just kind of felt. I just did it to survive, really.
Yeah, so you got a job.
Yeah, it was like 2008, right? So you know what that time of the world was like. It was
what
just
did they call it here? The GFC?
Yeah, the GFC. Yeah. Any money was good money back then because there wasn't a lot of it going around. And so I was living with my cousin and my brother at the time. They had both lost their jobs, and so I was kind of supporting all three of us. And at one point, for about 6 weeks, we were living out of a car because it was just it was a bad time. And we were living in Gold Coast of Australia at the time, which was a tourist destination. And the tourism had stopped because there was no money going around in the world. And it was a pretty tough time. But I eventually found I was quite good at just doing hard work, a hard day's work. And so in hospitality, that's a good way to start. And then that eventually turned in, I had somewhat of a brain and could figure out a little bit more of how to run these operations inside hotels. And then I was lucky enough to have a really good group of mentors who helped grow my career. Mm-hmm. And then over the next 12 years, I went from a food and beverage attendant working in hotels to a general manager, and I ran hotels throughout Australia, and then I eventually worked across Australia, the UK, a little stint in Japan, and literally everywhere in Australia. So Queensland, Sydney, Melbourne, Central Coast, are all over the place. And that sort of was my career for 12 years, and I kind of got known as Mr. Fix-It when it came to hotels. I was put into hotels or a food and beverage department to fix it. They were going, we're losing money, it's not good, the team morale's down, everything. And I would be put in, I'd fix that, and then I'd get moved on to the next thing. Mm-hmm. And so I had 11 jobs over those 12 years of doing that.
Wow.
And that was cool. That was really rewarding. But towards the end of that career, I realized that I was naturally quite entrepreneurial, and I wanted to do something of my own, But the thing is, I just didn't really know what it was or what I was going to do. And so that was always the leap I couldn't take, is like, what am I going to do? I didn't have a bunch of capital. I didn't understand. I didn't come from a world that understood about raising capital. I didn't even know what that was until about 5 years ago, what raising capital even was. And so I really hesitated to take that leap. And then one day I met a guy who taught me how to use LinkedIn really well. And I started using it for the hotels, and I started generating all this revenue because I started to connect with EAs.
Oh, wow.
Who hold the keys to the kingdom for all these CEOs. These CEOs happen to tell the EA, hey, I need a
EAs being executive
assistants,
yes.
Sorry. Yep. And those EAs would say, their CEOs would say to their EAs, I need a hotel for such and such, or I need an event space. And then I was connecting with them and making friends with them on LinkedIn. And they're like, oh, Stan, you've got a hotel, don't you? You're a general manager. And then so we'd get these contracts. And after 3 weeks of doing this, only 3 weeks, I had 140 grand worth of deposits in our account, in the hotel account. And I was like, okay, there's something about this. There's it's a social media thing. Is I knew it was big, and that was only 2018. So it was late in the game, but I knew there was something there. But I now knew, okay, I know a way of getting people to talk to me about business. Okay, now I just need to find out what the business is. And then, so I didn't know what that was. And that's when I just told my my now wife, but my partner at the time, Claire, let us just go back to New Zealand and try this. And we'll go back to New Zealand because we got free accommodation.
Yeah.
That was really it. Stay with family.
That's an amazing story. And I love it for lots and lots of different reasons, because I was talking to one of our board members, actually, who has had an extraordinary career in medical device and all sorts of things. He's just amazing, Howard Palevsky. And I asked him, I said, so as an investor, what are the characteristics you look for in a company, right? And you just named them all, actually, in that little scenario. You have them all. Okay, so let's put the entrepreneurial spirit aside, because that's something you come to recognize later, which, same for me.
Yeah.
I didn't realize, you don't wake up and say, I want to be an entrepreneur, let's go to college, and there's no path for that.
No.
It's something inside of you. And so what Howard mentioned, and I think you have for sure, is the word he uses is indefatigable, which I didn't understand until yesterday.
Yeah.
It just basically means you don't give up.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
It's that resilience, that bring it kind of attitude.
Yeah.
Right? Even when you're living in a car, or you do whatever you have to do to succeed.
Yeah.
Most people don't understand that. Nothing comes really easily. Nothing, really.
You can't teach it, really.
No, you can't teach it. You're born with that. Yeah. The second thing that you said, and I really hate when people say, oh, you're so lucky.
Yeah.
It's not luck.
Nah.
It's hard work. Yeah. So those two things kind of go hand in hand, and the resilience to meet defeat with, I'm going to try better, I'm going to do it harder.
Yep.
And you have that quality. The other thing that you mentioned was solving a problem. You became Mr. Fix-It.
Yeah.
I thought you meant with fixing a water leak or those kinds of things, stuffed up toilet.
Yeah.
No. No, it's the ability to recognize a problem and bring a solution that's real.
Yeah.
And that's a perfect setup, honestly, for a successful entrepreneur. Are those three things?
Yeah, amazing. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd agree. Yeah.
It's really cool.
Yeah.
And if you look around at people who are successful, you're going to find those same characteristics. Yeah. And for me, I didn't realize I had those until looking back. I'm like, wow, this wasn't all a mistake. No. And I love learning from other people's mistakes, not, making them myself. So you have to be very observant, I think. That was awesome story.
Yeah. I think making those mistakes helps you build that resilience, right? That's how you get it. And I've made plenty. And even on that career, I made plenty, but I learned from them, I think, is I didn't just let them be a point of defeat. It was, okay, that's a data point.
You don't go down with the ship.
No. Fix it. Build a new one. Yeah.
Fix the hole and move on. Yeah. Oh, I love that. Yeah. So let's fast forward then. So then you decide, I guess, 2018.
Yeah, late 2018, start of 2019.
Oh, before we go on, LinkedIn. Yes. Okay, that was the one thing that my team 2 years ago said, you've got to do this. And oh, it was painful. It's still painful because answering emails takes up enough time during the day. I can't even keep up with that, right? Texts, emails, phone calls. It is a little bit brutal, the digital world, which I want to come back to. Okay, but I decided to do LinkedIn, and I can't say I knew what I was doing, but I quickly realized how powerful it was because it recognizes who you are. It absolutely knows everybody you know and more. And it's really scary. So put me at ease with that. I mean, help me and others understand how to harness the power of, let's start with LinkedIn as a platform, because at least it's more professional.
I think when people say it's scary, I think the reason why they think that, and I think they're right in their thinking, is just that because there's so much to lose as well, because it is a professional network and people understand what your career is or your job is or the business that you run. And so there's a lot more weight tied to it, to your because of your financial well-being essentially is tied to it, right? Like your ability to produce income is tied to this platform so much. And so there's a lot more.
Well, for you.
But also for a lot of people.
But now for everybody.
For a lot of people.
Yeah,
because
true.
Let's say you didn't have a big brand there, but you went and said something on the platform that, like, let's say just got you cancelled, just for the sake of it, got you cancelled. That would have a real world effect straight away without any
done.
brand. And you could be done,
It's really crazy.
Exactly. So there's a real fear to it, like, and because there is a lot of weight to it. So, which is also why it's so powerful, because then if you do it the other way and do something good and add value to that community, it'll have a real world effect the opposite way. You'll actually get more business and grow your business and more opportunities. And so for a lot of people, when you see it, that fear, it's only a fear because there's such a big opportunity for loss. But wherever there's a big opportunity for loss, there's the opposite as well. The opposite also exists. So there's also a big opportunity for growth. And so I think, like, we know that because, like, when you are afraid of things, it's usually because there's something you can lose, but there's also almost always, in most situations, something you can gain. And so if we just focus on that and making sure that we can go for the gain part of it, that's what we try to do with our clients, and like what we're trying to do with you and other clients of ours is, how do we like leverage what it is that you've already done so successfully and just tell that story to the world, you know? And once you do that, because it's such a trusted platform, because your business and career is so tied to it, so people don't lie a lot on LinkedIn compared to other platforms.
That's good.
You know, that's why it's always wins most trusted platform on all the surveys. It's the most trusted platform because of the reason it's tied to your income, and people don't want to ruin their ability, their income, right? Like Instagram,
I never thought of that.
You can't just have a fake profile on LinkedIn. They're very good at killing fake profiles. On Instagram, you can have 100 profiles. They don't care. So you can have 99 of them that are just trolls, and then you're one shop, right? And that's fine. But on LinkedIn, you only really get one profile, really, in your business, but one personal one. And so you have to do things somewhat by the book, because if not, your income's tied to it. And so therefore, people understand when people are on that platform, they can trust them a lot more. They can trust what they're saying. And we know in business that so much of business is done through trust. If you can trust the other party in the business, you're more likely to do business with them. And some of that trust comes from familiarity. You know, that's why Coke puts its signs all over the place. We get familiar with it, so therefore we trust that it will be the same Coke no matter when we buy it. But the same thing happens with humans. And so that's kind of where I think for most people listening, there is a lot to lose there. It is very scary, but there's equal amounts to gain. And I just don't think that you have that on the other platforms the same way.
Yeah, and it's definitely a learning experience. I mean, I wish that my wish would be that all social media would just be true.
Yeah.
You know, that's one thing that I can't stand. I can't stand wasting time, right? So I wish it was more focused. I wish it was more positive. All of those things. And if we could do that, it would be great. So I try to stay in that space. Just personally on my LinkedIn and stuff like that. And I know you guys have really pushed me to explore other aspects of social media, which I understand are important for building a business. Because everybody else is getting left behind. Let's just be honest, right? Even myself, like just getting up on Instagram and beginning to understand what other people are looking at, how they're shopping, how it's changing behavior. I quickly understood, okay, hang on. the world has moved from a static place
Yep.
to a dynamic place. For example,
Yeah.
investor pitch videos, or I'm sorry. For example, we're working right now on our investor pitch,
Yep.
okay, to raise another round of funding.
Yep.
We'll talk about fundraising in a second.
Yeah.
It's so much fun. And you know, the traditional method is you tell your story in a nice PowerPoint and you send it around, and guess what? Nothing happens.
Yeah.
Nothing is happening.
Yeah.
They want to meet the people behind it. They want to feel the energy
Yeah.
because they're getting that on social media, right? So the brain has actually been trained in a very different way.
Yeah.
So we're kind of taking a different tack this time. We're going to do something much more creative, and I'm super excited about it. Maybe I'll share it with you later.
I hope so.
You can copy it.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I think it is an interesting thing to see because, like, even with my time in Silicon Valley recently, even the way that they were talking about how they, we were helping them with a launch on social media to get their next round of funding secured.
Oh,
right?
gee.
Yeah, and they
Join the club.
Yeah, they had to tell the story, right?
Yeah.
Because they were like, the world's changed. We have to do it this way. This is how it has to work. And their lead investors are like, yes, we need you to do this. We'll give you the money you need to do this thing because if you don't do it, we won't get the next round. If you don't get the next round, our initial investment's wasted.
Right.
Yeah.
No, it's really true. And I had to learn that myself.
Yeah.
Somebody else can't tell you that.
Yeah.
So let's switch gears a little bit
Okay.
about building a business.
Yeah.
Because I think that's something, obviously, you had no formal training in.
Yeah.
I had no formal training in.
Yeah.
I've built many businesses.
Yeah.
You have too.
Yeah.
And we're not done.
No, not at all.
And again, it's something I think you can learn
Yep.
by the school of hard knocks, so to speak. You have to be very observant. You have to be very careful with money. I learned that from building my practice originally. I kept it very lean.
Yeah.
Low overhead, I think, is the key.
Yeah.
You don't want to get bloated, have a big bloated,
Yeah.
Overhead with a budget. That's like the biggest mistake I see companies make time and time again is a bloated overhead.
Yeah, for sure.
So I'd love to hear, obviously you've built an empire.
Get in there.
It's great.
Yeah.
It's great. What are your goals, ultimately?
I always somewhat joke, somewhat serious, talk about global domination. And what I mean by that is like
By yourself? Or
I kind of always, people ask how big do you want the agency to be or the business to be, and I said, well, as big as it can.
Sure.
I don't have a limit to how big I want it to grow. Like, for me, this is the thing I enjoy doing the most. So why wouldn't I just keep doing it? So realistically, I do think as an agency, there's a space for us to grow quite large, to be one of the bigger players in the team. And I know that just takes time. It just means in my mind, I need to figure out how to grow sustainably and stay in the game.
Yeah.
If I can stay in the game and grow consistently, I'll get there eventually. If I try to grow unsustainably, I'll run out of runway and cash and burn and die. And if I don't continue, if I'm not growing, but I'm just existing, then I'll slowly die. I'll slowly decline as all the other people come and take over. And that's exactly what we've done, right? We've come into this industry, taken a different approach to other advertising agencies, and we've been able to steal business of people that we should really have not have been able to do in the 6 years we've been around.
We don't call it stealing business.
Well, acquiring businesses. And winning pitches. We really shouldn't be some of the brands, the enterprise level brands that we talk to. Should we really be able to take on that sort of work at this stage of our life cycle?
Yes.
And yes, we should. But for most people, they didn't think that. And so it's been that. So my goal is grow it as big as it can. But I also understand that I am a CEO built for the early stage of it. I think as the systems get in place, even with the actual agency itself, I only really like it when there's a problem to solve. And when everything's running smoothly, I'm I'm kind of bored, which isn't a great thing because, my team still need me and whatever. But I know that if I can continuously put in the right systems and people in place to solve the BAU, and then I can solve problems. So all that is saying is I imagine if the agency continues to grow, and I've talked to you previously, like there's other businesses I'll want to start
Yeah.
alongside of it. And so this will kind of be the engine room of the marketing engine
Yep.
room for anything else I create.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, it's really interesting because I see a lot of parallels in kind of how I live my life.
Yeah.
Correct me if I'm wrong,
Yeah.
but I'm not driven by money.
No.
It's not the end game.
No.
It's about solving a problem
Yeah.
where there's a real need. I mean, we're very different industries,
Yeah.
right? But it's the same.
It's the same thing.
And that really strikes me as something special because I think it does translate to many other businesses. These are basic principles,
Yeah.
right?
Absolutely.
And so you're not driven by money. You love what you do.
Yeah.
That passion, bringing the passion is critical. The team, surrounding yourself. Look, nobody knows everything.
No.
I have very limited skills. I have zero skills in social media,
Yeah.
but I know how to relate to people.
Yeah.
And I understand. I want to talk to them and bring something of value
Yeah.
where I'm not going to waste their time and they're not going to, say, oh man, that was a waste of time.
Exactly.
I want to bring something of value, get people excited so that they can apply those same principles to their lives and go follow their dreams.
Yeah.
I mean, neither one of us started out with a dream,
No.
really.
No.
And then at a certain age, I knew I wanted to be a doctor, but that was very vague.
Yeah.
No one in my family had been to college or had nothing.
No.
So it's quite amazing.
It is.
Hey, congrats.
Yeah, nice.
Good job.
Yeah.
There's not a lot of that either going around.
No, there's not.
So, what do you do to kind of take care of your mental state? Because the digital world, I think, is having a horrendous impact on people.
Yep.
I think it creates anxiety. I think it just it creates a lot of pressure, peer pressure, obviously. So let's talk a little bit about the world.
Yeah.
And do you have kids?
No. But it is an interesting question around what is the digital world doing to people. And I do agree that the digital world is definitely harming people, especially their mental state. I also think it highlights...
What do you mean by harming?
Oh, as in like I can see there's patterns of like destructive behavior that happens because of social media and different platforms and AI and all the things that are happening. But I also understand that it's probably exposing a lot more. Like it's accelerating the way that these humans are already. And so there's probably some other, like just getting rid of digital or social is obviously not the answer. And you can't, once the genie's let out of the bottle, you're not going to get rid of it anyway. But the way I sort of deal with that world, given that I live in social media now, because it's our business, is that a lot of people forget that you can the algorithms and the platforms are you can curate them. You can make them do what you want them to do by interacting with them in the right way. And a real good example of this is my wife and I. Well, she'll send me a video and she'll say, we did it once. She sent me a video and she's like, oh, this poor girl is getting ripped to pieces in these comments. They're just calling her out and saying all this stuff. But it was such a fun video. Like, I don't understand why they're all hating on her. And I opened it up. I was like, these are great comments. I don't know what you're talking about.
Oh, wow.
And she's like, no, they're not. They're like absolutely destroying it. They're really mean. And I was like, hang on, wait, let's talk about when I come home because I want to see what you're seeing. So we opened it both up the same video on our own profiles, open the comments, and her comments is all hate and mine's all support.
No way.
And I had to, because there's thousands of comments, I had to scroll.
That is so
to find it.
bizarre.
But that's because I don't read negative. Like if I see negative comments, I skip over them and I just find the positive ones and I want people to join in with my enjoyment of it. And so it feeds me more of them.
That's really bizarre. That I've noticed.
Yes.
I definitely have noticed. I sort of have this fascination with people who are doing all these piercings, of their nose and all this stuff. Those are the videos you told me people love. Now I'm stuck on them. It's your fault.
Yeah.
But anyway, so of course you watch one or two and then you get 1,000. But the other thing it does is once you switch over to something else, boom, it drops the other stuff.
Yeah.
So it is a mind control kind of tool, and that's what scares me about it. It's just weird.
It can, if you
bizarre.
if you do it if you use the platforms without intention, it will control you. It'll tell you what you want to see, and you'll see more of it, and you'll get stuck because you actually do get that dopamine hit every time you're watching it. When I use it, I'm really intentional with how I interact with things. I don't just blindly interact, or if I do like something, I make sure I actually like it. Like I make sure I share it. I make sure that it knows the type of content I want more of.
Oh, that's funny. That's
Yeah.
That just intuitively,
Yeah.
those are the only two interactions I do. I rarely ever comment on anything, but if I like something, I'll definitely like it.
Cool.
Just because I want that person to know,
Yeah.
hey,
Yeah.
I'm glad that you shared that with me.
Yeah.
Or I'll send it on.
Yeah. And those two interactions are probably two of the main ones that people do. It's like a real common thing to do, but people don't do it necessarily with a lot of intention. They just find themselves doing it. And so because they're not doing it with intention, they'll scroll through a lot of videos that they did like, but they didn't kind of like them enough to give it a like. And so you've sent a signal to the algorithm, oh, maybe they don't actually like this stuff. Maybe we'll try to find some other things that they might like or whatever. So just by being really intentional, you can curate the algorithms and the platforms to serve you better. So you're not getting taken down bad pathways. So I kind of think when everyone says to me, I can't watch TikTok because it's all negative on there and blah, blah, blah. I'm like, okay, we should reset this algorithm. And a lot of the platforms now actually give you the ability to actually just reset your personal algorithm.
How do you do that?
In Instagram, you can find the settings. Maybe inside the description of this video, we could put a link to how to do it.
Fabulous.
Yeah, and so you can just reset it, and then you can train it again from the get-go. And then you can teach it what I actually want to watch and consume. And like Instagram's been really good at promoting this because they understand, like, of all the platforms, they were probably the worst at harming people. And there was a lot of studies that came out about Facebook and Instagram, and 2016 and all that Cambridge Analytica stuff that came out. There was
I wasn't paying any attention to
there was a
social
lot
media,
of bad
trust
stuff
me.
that happened. But really, like what I say to people is like, you can change this. And my story with my wife and I that I mentioned is a classic example of two people who live essentially the same life because we own a
really
business together, we live
fascinating.
together. But she interacts slightly differently on social media than I do, and it's built a negative comment world for her. So it makes her feel upset.
She needs an attitude adjustment.
Yeah, and she did. So we looked and she's like, this is it.
Yeah,
I'm
but
gonna
how many
change
people
this.
out there don't have any clue
I
about
know,
that?
exactly. That's my point. And that's the message we have to push.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's almost like we need training.
Yeah.
And I kept saying this to your team. It's like, you need to train me because I don't know how to do this.
Yeah, don't know how to interact with it.
No.
Yeah.
Young people do.
Yeah.
Young people, like it's almost like they're born with it.
I
It's
actually
weird.
don't think they do. They know how to use it, but do they know how to interact with it in a way
you mean
that
the
serves them
algorithm.
well?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think so.
So
Not-
how do
not
we
normal.
do that? How do we, educate
Yeah.
people about it,
Yeah.
and how do we leverage that while we're building a business?
Yeah. In my opinion, it comes down to like, do I want control of this thing? And
But
most people don't.
or it'll have control of you.
Yeah, but most people don't think that way. Most people don't even think it's a thing I can have control over. They just think it is a thing that exists. And it's like for instance, they don't look at an apple and be like, I want this to be a square. Like no one does that, right? But they look at Instagram and they don't go, oh, I could turn this into a square. They just think, no, it's like an apple. It is what it is. I just get given this apple and I got to deal with it. But in Instagram's not like that. It's like putty. You can change it. You can mold it and turn it into whatever you want it to be. But people don't look at it that way.
Well, I think there's something real there.
Yeah.
Because you have that knowledge. Do you do programming too, or?
I have done a lot of programming.
Okay.
Yeah.
But because you have that knowledge on
Yeah.
how to manipulate the platforms versus the platforms manipulate you,
Yep.
that is a key that I think unlocks a lot for businesses.
Agreed. Yeah.
I want us to go deep on that. Not here, but
Yeah.
seriously,
Yeah,
I want to tap into that knowledge.
Yeah. It is something that a lot of people don't do, and then it causes them a lot of anxiety as they go through life.
It really causes a lot of anxiety.
Yeah.
Just real quick as we wrap up here, I want to touch a little bit about the differences between, for example, we're here in New Zealand.
Yep.
And the market is very different here. I love it. I absolutely love the lifestyle here.
Yep.
I love the people here, the creativity. I think there's a lot of entrepreneurialism here.
Yep.
I think it is held back a little bit
Yeah.
by the investment community, which
For
is
sure.
far too conservative.
Yeah.
I mean, I've never really seen anything like that.
Yeah.
I'm very conservative.
Yeah.
I'm very risk averse.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
But
not here.
this
not
is
in this
another
country.
level.
Yeah.
But what I've noticed in going between two countries and doing business in two different countries, the States and here, a lot of similarities, a lot of differences.
Yeah.
So over the last 5 years, retail has dramatically changed in the States. I don't know if you noticed it on your short visit, but retail has basically rolled up the sidewalks, and I would say about 75% of shoppers are buying online.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
So that's
for sure.
That's definitely not the case here.
No.
So what we plan to do is actually, we wound up doing our market validation testing online, mostly on Amazon, but on our own website as well.
Yeah.
And we plan to do some limited retail testing here in New Zealand, which we've been doing, and it's been very successful due to social media.
Yeah.
Because social media can really push that here. Yeah. So running those two tests allowed us to economically be very efficient, when we go towards a global launch of our products. Starting in the States. Do you think that that's a valid model for other companies? And I know a lot of companies here want to launch in the States because the market's bigger, obviously. But with social media, you're global. I mean, it takes down a lot of those barriers.
I think that firstly, New Zealand businesses don't think global enough, actually. I think you've probably been introduced to like an upper echelon of businesses here, I guess, just because of the type of community you've probably walked through, just because of your success. And you'll see a lot of small businesses in New Zealand just think very local. And it's like, that there's only 100,000 people here. And for you to get 1% of the market is huge, because that's actually a lot of market to capture. And so you're going to have 1,000 customers max.
It's a very small market to build any kind of a business.
Any kind of
However,
business.
if it's a global business, it's easy reach.
It's easy. And that's what I think. I think that as long as the New Zealand business thinks globally, I think it's we've seen it. There's lots of great businesses in New Zealand who have gone global. One that's doing really well at the moment is Moody. They've taken off. So there's a lot of ways. There's a lot of great businesses in Australia that have done the same, that are somewhat similar market. They've obviously got a larger domestic market, so they can still build a very large business just in Australia. But I do think that there's a real opportunity for New Zealand business to go global straight away. However, as I've talked to you previously about starting a product of our own, there's lots of factors I think that come into play there. And should you start straight in the US? Should you start here? Should you, do you get it really well in New Zealand, Australia, and then you sell the dream to investors of going to the US and taking on that market or whatever? I don't think there's a right or wrong answer after I've talked to so many people about it. I think you've just got to be very clear on what you're doing. I think you've got to really understand what is the growth trajectory for this, and that there are some benefits and pros and cons for both.
Absolutely.
And so you've got to be really clear. If you're not clear and you're just hoping, that's a really bad strategy. Hope is a terrible strategy.
Terrible strategy. No.
Have a plan.
And test that plan.
Test the plan.
I think a lot of companies don't do that. They they put a stake in the ground and they go, okay, we're going. We've got a great product. We're going to sell. And I think that also leads to disaster. We kind of go one foot in front of the other. Of course, our team is used to bringing products to market that have never existed. So we open up categories. We're first to market, first in class with a product. And that has its own challenges. That's why we like a place like New Zealand. Because you come here with an innovative product and you can test it and get those results quickly, efficiently, cost effectively. That's why, we're working with you guys. I mean, we looked at probably 7 different social media companies in the States. And then we got introduced to you, which I'm really excited about and grateful for. And it's been an eye-opening experience. It's been a short amount of time, but it was enough to show us the power of social media and how we're going to launch. And now, getting ready for that is going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's a lot of work.
It is a lot of work.
It's a lot of work. It's an amazing amount of work it added to my day. My night, actually. I was up till 4 a.m. last night.
It is a lot of work. And I think one of the things I tell a lot of people, we try, what's really hard with our business, you end up creating more work for your client. And then our job is to try and figure out slowly how do we take back some of that stuff. Because initially you want control and you want your fingers, because you're learning too. You're learning about this. So it's actually quite exciting. As entrepreneurs, we find it also quite exciting. We want to be part of it too. So it's over time, how do you bring it all back and help them? But what I realized as I've built this and the internal marketing team that we have that does our brand is that like this is everything. Like the business wouldn't be here without any of this stuff. Like I could sell any product I want now with the brand that I have.
Yeah.
So actually it is the most important thing for me.
It's a machine.
It's a machine now. And so the fact that it takes up majority of my time, like I'm actually not mad about it, but I also couldn't do it with the 8 people in our internal team that we have because it's so much work. There is just no way.
It's so much work. You have to
Yeah.
keep that machine healthy.
Yeah.
Because it's your lifeblood now.
Exactly.
And you've built so much value
Yeah.
in the company that you've just got to do it. I mean, it's an amazing company. Amazing
Thank you.
people.
Yeah, thank
really
you.
hardworking.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah,
They are.
I took care of them while you
Yeah,
were gone.
No, I know, I appreciate it. You took the
Globe-trotting.
CEO, yeah, you took the CEO role over for me.
While you were globetrotting.
Yeah.
No problem.
No, it's a fun business, and it's a fun area to play in. And I think as an entrepreneur, early in my entrepreneurial career, after leaving my sort of somewhat corporate career in hotels, I'm glad it was the first business I really created on my own, because I think that now, like as I said, I didn't know how to go out and acquire clients. And when I learned LinkedIn and I realized, this is a real way I can start to talk to people back then. And now I have LinkedIn and TikTok and Instagram and YouTube and newsletter, all these other ways to talk to customers. Now I realize if I can find a problem that someone else has and really identify that well and find a solution, I've got a platform I can push it out on. And people will somewhat trust us because they've seen us over years doing this thing. And so I'm really glad that became my first business. I'm not saying it's the most ideal way to do. I'm just grateful that that's the way I went for it. Because now I know that like spinning up other business underneath it, and we have like the newsletter itself is essentially a second business. Like it has its own income stream and it runs a separate team that doesn't even do anything in the agency, the 2 guys who run that, and now produces its own revenue. And so that was all built. The newsletter was built using the rest of the brand to do it. And so now I know there's just do that again, but in a different problem that we're trying to solve for. So that's been fun to do. And then I've been able to like find a lot of really great people to put in the
I
in the
love
room
that
with
part
me.
too.
Yeah.
And that's what I kind of wanted to bring the whole thing back to, again, the concern over the digital world and the kind of the loss of the human touch. I worry about that because it happened in medicine.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, it happened in healthcare. They brought in the electronic medical record. Now you go to the doctor and they're staring at a computer. They're not even looking at you. Yeah. I will tell you, the majority of them have no idea how to do a physical examination and diagnose something without a CAT scan, technology, da-da-da-da-da-da. In the day that I was trained, which wasn't that long ago, it wasn't the dinosaur age, but we focused on clinical diagnosis. So smelling a person's breath, looking at their skin, understanding the color of their eyes, really subtle differences in how the body changes. The human touch was critical, and it's an art that was lost. So I worry about that I don't have kids either, but I do worry about that for the generations coming up. Interested to hear your thoughts on that. But I also will say that the human touch is what I connected with you and was so different from other media companies. Yeah. It was, I really felt, and maybe it was fake. No, I really felt like you were excited about what we were doing. You understood us. You got us. You heard our voice. And the one thing that you said, which really resonated with me, was there's no conversation online about the nose and respiratory health, and we want to own it. Yeah. And that's exactly what we want to do. Yeah. So it just clicked. Yeah.
No, I really, it's good to hear that human touch piece of what we do resonated, because we call it here client intimacy, and it's like a focal point for us as a team. What is it? What are we doing to ensure that we have these intimate relationships with our clients, and that we are true partners with them, and that we don't try to pretend that we're the best in the world at making a video. Like we're not Tarantino. we're not these people. But what we do know is we know our client really well. We know what they're trying to achieve, and we can adapt with them and change with them, because the world changes so fast and everything changes. And if I'm just poring over every detail on a video but not caring about my customer, they don't care. that's not what they just want the video, or they just want the outcome, or whatever it might be. And so we realized as a team, and I realized from my background in hospitality, that like customer service and client intimacy was probably the only defensible thing we could have, because everyone can make a video these days. Like the ability, like the cost of production is so cheap now. Anyone can make videos, and you see these 14-year-olds
and
with
they're good enough.
$2 million. Yeah, they're good enough. They do the job.
Yeah.
And so we couldn't defend ourselves on being the best video creators, because what does that even mean? But we could at least ensure that as an agency, we can make our clients feel like we actually do care about them, because we do. Because a number of reasons, but more than anything, it's our clients who help us pay our own mortgages. Like without them, we don't have a business.
Right.
Like it just doesn't exist without our clients. We can't just ignore them. So we have to truly care. And if we don't care about what they're doing, then we shouldn't take their business, because we won't give it the attention it needs, and then it'll fall over. So that was like a real good thing, I think, with us. And it then led us into your concern about losing the human touch in industries. I actually I've always thought this, but it cemented my thoughts when I went to Silicon Valley recently, and I was talking to we're working for our client there is a robotics company, and they're using AI, putting AI into robots and making these things autonomous, right? And the industrial designer, their job is quite a bit of a futurist job. They have to understand how will humans interact with this into the future. And so he has to really understand human behavior and how people will interact. And he's like, well, humans won't interact with these robots using a mouse and a keyboard or a touch screen like we used to.
They'll talk to them.
They'll talk to them. It'll be very human interaction.
Oh, creepy.
Yeah, and he's like, it has to be, because like you have to talk, and humans aren't going to learn robot. So robots have to learn human. And it is a little bit creepy, but what he said is, what was really interesting, he's like, so, as you know in business, Dan, like, your ability as a leader is determined by your ability to communicate very well, delegate really well, ask people, identify problems. And so there are going to be some people who are far more experienced at that and better at it in this new world that we're going into. And actually the thing that we've got to be concerned about are the people who don't learn how to communicate well and who don't learn how to be human. They're actually going to be left behind, and this AI world's going to take over, and those of us who have got great communication skills or leadership skills or whatever, we're going to thrive. What I think then that creates in a world is we start to focus our efforts on human communication a lot more, and that the people who get left behind are the ones who ignore this. And so I think ideally, if we get into the right place, more humans will realize that this is necessary, that more of us will realize that communication is important, that human touch is important, and communication and just like building relationships and rapport is actually way more important than creating a video. Because at one point in the time, I'll be able to tell a robot to make me a video, and it'll be able to do it. Knowing what that video is and why I'm using it and what it says and all that, that's what I need to understand based on all the relationships I have with the humans. And so I'm an optimist, and so I'm hoping that the technology in this AI world, there will be bad parts, of course. There's always going to be bad actors in play, but I do hope that we get to a world where humans have to learn how to be more human to survive in the world we're in.
Well, that would be a great outcome.
Yeah.
Right? If we can, I'm big on communication. Yeah. So if we can help people learn how to communicate better, super.
Yeah.
But I think it's going to be a bumpy road.
Oh, for sure. There's going to be a lot of people left behind.
But I will say, I did learn that social media is just another way to communicate. Yep. And you can use it to communicate the way you would communicate with another human being, except there's millions of them. And, that's why, to me, the messaging is so critically important to get it right. Yeah. Because once it's out there, it's out there. Yeah. And you can't take it back.
No. No, it is a wild world out there.
It's a wild world.
Yeah. The good thing about that world is that you can't take it back, but you can, if you are confident, build on it. And that's what we've learned a lot in our business, that we can say a thing and we can add to it. You can continuously build, and humans have this real recency bias to the last message. Like, no one remembers the content we put out even 2 months ago.
I know. It's the volume. Yeah. The volume is just a killer.
Yeah. And it's hard to keep up. But
it's hard. You can't even remember, like, if you scroll past something, you can't figure out how to get there.
No. And so I think that's a good thing for us business owners who understand that. it gives us an edge over everyone else who are sleeping on it,
Mm-hmm.
because they put out one video in a month and be like, oh, look at my great video. And it's like, no one
It's
saw
gone
it.
in a nanosecond.
It's gone.
So how do you keep up with the volume?
I mean, you have to create systems. You have to have an understanding of what it is that you're trying to do, and you have to trust the process. A lot of people will look at videos and they will... A lot of people will look at, say, us, and they'll see the success that we've had, and they think, oh, look, you guys are doing so well. And it's like, actually, like, of the 200 videos we've put out this month, only about 10 of them did well.
This month?
I mean, you think about what our contract is and how we work together, and from a monetary value, and I have 8 full-time staff in my internal team. Wow. And you think about, like, that fee couldn't pay for all of that, right? That's how much resources we put just into our brand. But like, for me, it's my whole business too. It's also my marketing thing. And as I said, it becomes an engine room for future things. For you, it's a function of the bigger business. Yeah. For me, it is my entire business. So it makes sense. But that's how we're able to do that sort of volume, because we have that many people involved. But obviously it costs me a fortune to do that. But it's also the same reason we have this whole business in the first place.
Is AI going to help you with that?
AI does. You know where I find AI helping a lot is, and especially at the moment, is that we can record everything now, and AI can then help us take those recordings and use it in a better way. So the way we use it is we can sit in a room together, 3 or 4 of us, and have conversations about what we're trying to achieve, to identify the problem really well, and then use AI to develop the brief for how we move forward. That piece of work would have taken a human a week.
That's amazing.
But it happens like this. So then you can spend more time in a room discussing.
What about the quality of that brief that you got?
The quality of that brief comes down to your ability to ask what you want from it.
Communication. Wow.
So now I just focus on, how do I put more people in a room to solve problems, and how do I get them to talk better, be able to communicate better with each other?
Absolutely.
That's the only 2 things I have to figure out.
That is super.
Yeah.
We're going to be doing a little session next week with your team.
Yeah.
Just because I want to dive into this kind of generational gap in the use of technology. And I think we've touched on a lot of good things that we can pull some more information out on, sort of training people to use technology in a better way. And I'm the first student. I mean, I will admit it, you know, but I do understand the power, and I'm grateful to you and your team for taking me under your wing.
We're grateful for you trusting us. Honestly, it is just it's a mutual thing. I think people forget, like, for us to be able to do our good work, we need trust. And if we didn't have that, we couldn't do it. And,
likewise.
And we've been able to do that because you've given us the trust.
Everything is based on trust and communication.
Yeah, exactly.
And great coffee.
Yeah. Oh, you got to have good coffee.
Which you also have.
And we taught you how to do it yourself.
Yeah, and now I'm a barista. Yeah. So, you know, if all else fails, I can still make it.
I'll find you a cafe. Yeah.
Well, thanks, Stan. No, thanks so much for your time.
Yeah.
This was great.
No, thanks for having me.
Really appreciate it.
Yeah. That was a great conversation.
We'll do it again.
Yeah, definitely.